Hello, everyone. This is Tom Denby here with,
Dan Horgan.
and we're here doing some commentary for the Friday Night Standard. This is from December 14th, 2018. Round one here. On the left, we got Dan Krapu versus Jason Pease. Couple of local players. One's on Jeskai Control, one's on Izzet Drakes. This is going to be an exciting matchup. I personally think Jeskai is probably very favored, especially post boards.
Yeah, I think pre-board, Izzet Drakes might be a little bit favored. I feel like the spot removal for Jeskai Control, you have Deafening Clarion's main board that just don't do anything against this deck.
That's true. My only problem with the Drake's deck in the matchup in general is that they don't have a lot. They don't have enough threats. You know what I mean? They can run out of threats very easily just based on how much removal Dan has and how many. I'm not sure of his exact list, but if he came prepared with like a bunch of lava coils, that's going to be a problem for Jason. We're going to both keep 7. Yeah. Go ahead.
Jason does have main board Spell Pierces.
That's pretty big in this matchup.
That's really big in this matchup, especially when like Dan tries to just go for like a turn 5 to fairy, and then Jason could just respond with 1 drop.
Spell Pierce it. So we're going to see a turn 2 Discovery Dispersal here from Jason. This is some rather new tech from the Drake's deck. We don't see it too often.
Yeah, and he actually plays 1 main board Dragon Skull Summit just for the dispersal part.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I've been playing a lot of Discovery Dispersal here recently, so we're just going to see a tapped land from Dan on a passing of the turn. This is kind of how I figured this matchup was going to start. Neither of these decks really pick up until turn 3 or turn 4.
Yeah. I could see a turn 3...
Enigma
Drake, which I thought would have been really good there, considering Dan only had 1 mana up because he played his land tapped.
I just don't think Jason wants to play any threats without any mana up to protect it, especially when he's got a Spell Pierce in hand like I saw, and maybe a Dive Down as well. This Izzet Drake's deck, that is the one thing about their deck versus these other creature decks in the format, is they have a lot of protection for their creatures.
Yeah, that is true. Does look like you just drew a shock. I did not know this deck played shocks.
A lot of these decks do play shock. It's nice, cheap, early interaction. It's a 1 mana spell to start filling your yard quickly, and it's also a later game. It's 2 damage to their face, so it's fine to me.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I do like the shock. I like it. I think it's correct. In a deck that just wants to be playing as many low-to-the-ground spells as possible to fill up their yard to make the Drakes more powerful, shock makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So it looks like he is that 2 dive downs now?
Mm-hmm. So he's really well set up to
fight. Land. Yep.
Fight here through these spot removal spells if Dan has any. I can't really get a good look at his hand.
And then there's a Crackling Drake. He's going to try to counter it. And does he have the Spell Pierce?
I believe he does have a Spell Pierce.
He does have the Spell Pierce. Just like we were saying earlier. It's a really good card in this matchup.
Yeah, but now he's completely tapped out, which is going to allow Dan, if he has any instant, or not even sorcery speed interaction, he's going to be able to remove it. We're going to see an upkeep scry here with this treasure map. So let me just be the first to say, well, not the first, but treasure map, one of the best cards in Standard right now. By far, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's a very good card right now.
It's in every control deck. I'm playing 4 of in my Esper build. I just think it's really too good to not be played in the control decks.
Yeah, that land advantage is just really good. It allows you to hit your colors all the time for everything. That's why 3 color is perfect for it.
We're going to see another treasure map. It really does let you set up your draws very well, too. So all you're hitting is action. The other thing is it just allows you, with the 3 lotus petals that it makes, it allows you to have a turn 6 where you can play a creature threat and wipe their board, or in my deck I can Eldest Reborn and play a creature or another removal spell and just put myself so far ahead that way, when normally the control decks can't do that. So now we're going to see here an attack for 4 from Jason, starting the clock up, and he's going to be able to hold up these 2 dive downs. Dan not being able to remove this Drake while Jason was tapped out is going to be very problematic for him.
Yeah, it does not seem great for him right now.
Pardon me, an attack for 5.
5, yes. Yeah. It doesn't seem great for Dan right now, but this deck can come out of nowhere, especially if he flips both the treasure maps.
Well, I don't know if Dan's going to have
time.
any luck in this game one, I really think that he needs to play a Niv Mizzet here very soon.
Right.
If he doesn't, nothing else is going to matter.
Yeah.
Because these 2 dive downs are just going to carry Jason through the rest of this game.
Yep. He's going to tap 3 mana here for a Deafening Clarion.
That's interesting. So I don't know if I like playing this into 4 open mana from the blue-red Drake Drake's deck. This seems kind of greedy. So we are going to see one of these dive downs fired off. And I guess he does have an expansion explosion, so Dan is kind of ready to fight this dive down battle. But he's going to get blown out by the second dive down here, and that's just going to probably be the game.
Yeah, going to copy the shock and try to shock it again.
Correct.
In response with it on the stack. This is a really interesting game for the stack. All three games, I feel like just everything gets put on the stack, especially both decks playing Niv Mizzet, I'd assume. Just putting all those on the stack. It just gets really, really interesting and really weird sometimes, actually.
Well, that's the thing about this format is there's a lot of very big stack fights that I've noticed, and B, all the best control decks now are like tap out control.
Yeah.
As we see Dan here, he's playing all on his own turn. The only thing he's not done on his own turn this game is that syncopate. So all the best control decks right now are playing on their own turn, which leads to like a very interesting style of play. Oh, I thought that was a beam splitter mage. It was just another crackling Drake. I was like, holy cow, Jay, you're playing some spice here today, my man.
He does have some spice in the board from what I've heard.
It makes sense. Jay is, he always likes to play his spicy favoritism cards.
Yeah.
He always has his spicy, oh, check it out, I'm going to get you with this one today.
Yeah.
So I do think we're going to be seeing a game here very soon.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Dan fights off two crackling Drakes here.
I don't know if he's playing any main deck cleansing novas, but that's the only thing that gets him out of the spot.
Yeah, and I doubt it. Most decks aren't.
No,
currently.
Most of the Jeskai decks aren't. Oh, that's a Rekindling Phoenix, but that's still not going to be enough. It can profitably block one of the Drakes, but the other Drake is lethal.
Yeah, well, not yet, as long as Jason has a spell.
Well, it is an 8 power and ends at 8.
Because he played the Charter Course, that is correct.
And he had 2 shocks in his hand, Jay did, so that game was very much over there.
Yeah.
So, kind of how you said, Drake's is very favored in game 1. I think games 2 and 3, they are a dog, though, because Dan gets to bring in, I'm sure, his specialized removal for this matchup, probably a bunch of like lava coils and seal aways. There's a cleansing nova that we were talking about. He does get a lot of stuff to fight in this matchup. Ooh, there's a spell swindle. Settle the wreckage I'm seeing there. So after games 2 and 3, Jay is really going to be put to the test to win one of these games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really rough, I think, for Jason coming into game 2 and 3. I think that Jeskai just has so much spot removal and just value removal for Izzet Drakes, just because they're all 4 toughness, and there's really no way to make them bigger.
And
toughness.
Not only that, but Dan's deck is just full of better spells.
And we see that he's taking out the Deafening Clarion.
Yeah,
which, like
it's
I
just
said
a
earlier,
bad card in this matchup.
Not good in this matchup at
It's
all.
It's honestly just dead. Unless you can do what he did, where you're trying to use 2 spells to kill 1 creature, which is always bad.
Yeah, especially when Jason has double dive down in hand. I see an interesting card in Dan's main deck here, and it's a Spell Swindle.
He actually just brought that in from the board.
Did he?
Yeah,
okay.
That's a card that I was actually playing quite a bit when I was on Jeskai. It is very good in these matchups where they're playing on their own turn a lot, like Drake's does, and B, they're casting these big mana spells. Back when I was playing Jeskai, Golgari was very popular, so I brought it in a lot against them and just would counter their Find Finality, for example, and get 8 treasures. And then I would untap and explosion them for 16 sometimes, and that's just the game.
Yeah, no, that seems very good.
Yeah, it's a very nice combination with what you call it, expansion explosion.
Did you see the little spice in Jay's side?
I did not.
There? So it's the 2 mana.
I see a beacon bolt.
Yes, it's the 2 mana dinosaur that whenever it's dealt
Raptor
damage,
Hatchling.
Yes,
he was showing me that the other day,
and I just thought it was because we were playtesting before the tournament, and he's like, I think I bring these in against you, and I'm like, yeah.
They're very good in a very wide range of matchups. Any card that's gonna like leave something behind when it dies is always good. For example, Hunted Witness, or from Standard Pass Doom Traveler, if you remember that fella.
Yep, I do.
Makes a 1/1 spirit.
Used to play Aristocrats in Modern. That was my first deck. I built it for $13 because I had the lands and I had the Fatal Pushes.
There you go.
So all I had to do was buy some commons.
Yeah, it's always in those same veins. Those 2-for-1s are always just going to be at least playable on some level.
Yeah. Some level, yes. Some of them are just not great.
But like Raptor Hatchling. I mean, it's a decent card.
I mean, I don't
know how I feel about it in Standard.
I don't know. Against the
aggro decks... It makes a 3/3 when it dies?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, at 2 mana, you get essentially 2 bodies out of it.
Yeah, that is true.
Against the aggro decks, like against my deck, I'm on Boros, like, Mentor. Against my deck, like, it value blocks as a 1/1, or is it a 2/2? Either way, it value blocks a lot of my creatures, and then it leaves something that literally kills all of my creatures.
That's true.
Except for Tajik, but just because I can give that first strike.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're both going to 6 here.
Yeah.
Fun and interactive Magic.
Right. I don't think that's good for either player.
No, it honestly favors Dan, though. Very much.
Yeah, because he has a lot more card advantage, I think.
He has a lot more card advantage, and then his treasure maps are just better.
And his treasure maps are going to put him ahead, especially if if Jason stumbles upon land.
Well, the thing about Jason's deck is he's a deck that wants as many cards as humanly possible, right?
Yeah. Because
he wants to be filling up his graveyard, so him mulliganing in most any matchup he's the worst off for that, in my opinion. In this matchup, it's even worse because, like we were saying, Dan his 6 is also not very good there. He has no blue mana. He is going to keep, though. He subscribes the blue mana to the top. I think that was a Steam vent, so he's going to get...
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to be rewarded here for this very greedy keep.
Yes. Let's see.
I don't know if you could have gotten me to keep that 6.
I don't think I would have.
Yeah.
But it looks like he shocks himself here.
You know, sometimes that's just... You're just rewarded by the magic gods.
Sometimes, yes.
His 6 is going to work out very nicely, too, because of that Steam vents. His hand's shaped up very well.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to either negate... Yep, he's going to be able to negate this search, which is big. And he also has an opt ready now, too. And there's a treasure map off the top, too.
And a settle. Or no, Ixalan's Binding.
That's an Ixalan's Binding and a settle. So his hand is very good.
So he doesn't care what Jason plays.
No, he honestly doesn't care. All he wants to do right now is sit here scrying and opting.
Charter Course here.
Scrying with his treasure map and opting away.
Charter Course land. His hand looks rough. The hand looks rough for Jason.
Yeah. You know, we're going to probably see a game 3 pretty quick here. And I 100% agree with Dan going the unstepped scry here on the treasure map instead of the opt. Yeah. He left up that mana in case he wanted, the blue mana specifically, in case he wanted to opt. But I just like getting the counters here. Jay's not doing anything, so you really are content to just sit here, scry away, put counters on this, flip the treasure map.
Especially since Dan did not have a 4th land in hand.
Right.
I think getting the treasure map up is more important.
Correct.
Because if you fail to see a land off the opt and the treasure map, flipping the treasure map is 100% the way to go.
Mm-hmm. And this also allows you to see the max amount of cards the way he did it. Because as you saw, he just fired off that opt main phase and was able to find the 4th land. So I really, really favor his position here.
Yep, and there's that Dragon School Summit that I was talking about for Jason.
Well, you know, you say his hand isn't very good, but he does have a number of Drakes in there.
Right.
But I think they're all the same Drake, which is going to be a real problem. I saw at least 2 Enigma Drakes.
I think it was Crackling Drake and then 2 Enigma Drakes.
So, depending on which one he leads with here...
Maybe it's 2 and 2.
Either way, if it's 2 and 2, this Ixalan's Binding is going to be a beating.
Yeah, I think he probably wants to lead with the Enigma Drake.
100% wants to lead with the Enigma Drake. You have to be putting Dan here on at least a spot removal spell, if not Ixalan's Binding. You have to put him on something. So I would gather at least a spot removal spell, and you just want your Enigma Drake to die in that case.
There's my token pile. Someone stole my treasure tokens out of it, though, so I didn't have them today. So Dan had to use his own.
Disrespectful.
Right? I had 4 in there.
Broke boys, get your own treasure tokens. The hell. Like, I would steal the Karn Construct tokens if they were in there. I'm not gonna lie, because
I don't have the real
I don't blame you. They're like $5 a pop. So if I saw them, I'd be like, sorry, Dan, these are mine now. But come on, guys, treasure tokens, really?
I mean, they are the cool ones with the actual treasure.
I probably would have taken those two, honestly.
I mean, I have a stack of them at home.
So yeah, we are going to see this Enigma Drake here, which is the correct play.
Yeah.
It also allows you to at least represent negate.
Yeah.
He does have a Spell Pierce in hand, though.
Yeah, the only thing
which isn't going to do much here.
Yeah, the only thing I would have liked better would be if he would have tapped the island instead of the steam vents, just to hold up double red and double blue. Obviously, you don't have counterspell.
Well, you know what, though? I will say that Full Art Unstable Island does more work than that Steam Vents.
Think so?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Just gonna let it happen.
Yeah, that Spell Pierce not doing a whole lot right now.
Yeah. Not at all.
Not in the face of these 3 treasures.
So, it was 3 Enigma Drakes? No, it was 2 Crackling Drakes and 2 Enigma Drakes was what it was.
So his hand is just flush with Drakes, but it's really, Dan honestly isn't going to care because this Ixalan's Binding is going to account for 2 of them. And then he also has Spell Swindle, Teferi, and Settle left. So Dan is just poised to win this game, I believe. It's going to take a minute, but I really don't see many combinations of draws that wins Jace in this game.
No, not really. The only thing I could possibly see is if Dan taps out, and Jason can slam a Niv. But I mean,
even then, that's still he's holding this Ixalan's Binding, and then he's just gonna rip another Lava Coil off the top. Is another perfect answer to this Drake. So he does, So he's still holding this Ixalan's Binding, which he does have a Niv in his hand. He just drew it. The Niv really doesn't feel good in the face of Teferi and this Ixalan's Binding, though.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Dan has all of his bases covered here.
Right, but it is getting him to waste a turn, allowing Jason to... It just buys Jason more time.
Honestly, with Dan, it's such a high life total that the time isn't going to be relevant. Dan's hand is just too powerful, honestly. I've been on both sides of this matchup, and when your hand is this powerful this late in the game as the Jeskai player, it's almost impossible to lose.
I agree. It's just, I think, coming from a point of view of Jason, I think
that's his hope. You're correct.
Yeah. Is he just goes, man, I need you to tap out, and I need to slam a Niv.
Well, Jason's also very much hurting for lands here. 5 lands is a lot for this deck, but he's sitting on a Niv Mizzet and
no, he just discarded
a dive down. Oh, did he? Okay, yeah.
Because he's just like, I can't get this 6th land, so he's just like, I don't want it. Now he's gonna face down to Teferi, and I can believe that Jason's probably just like, what do I do here?
Yeah.
This deck doesn't really have an answer to Teferi.
No, and not only that, Dan's hand, he has 5 cards in hand, and all of them are power spells.
Oh, yeah.
So, or no, is that 6 cards?
Double Niv, Teferi,
Spell Swindle, Ixalan's Binding, Settle the Wreckage.
Yeah.
This game is a formality, honestly.
Yep. I think it's pretty much over for Jason. I don't think there's much he can do here.
This is a Murmuring Mystic. It's what did they call it? Young Fly Romancer.
That's great. I've not heard that one.
Young Fly Romancer. I heard that one, and I was thoroughly pleased with it.
Yeah, but I'll take Young Pyromancer because it's 2 mana.
Yeah, no, you're right. You are correct. Much better card is the Young Pyromancer.
This is like a bad version of Talrand.
That's true.
Because it makes 1/1s and...
Yeah, this guy's a 1/5.
Yeah,
He's
I guess.
He's a big booty boy.
It's not a 2/2 like Talrand. It's not legendary either.
That's true.
Talrand is legendary, so I guess,
he's better than Talrand.
I think they're on the same level.
No,
I mean,
the 1/5 thing is what puts
Talrand
it
makes
hard.
2/2s.
Yeah, but I don't really care about the power and toughness as much as I care about the base stats of the creature making the dudes.
True.
So Dan's just sitting here with a full grip of spells.
Just he can do whatever he wants here.
The world is his oyster.
I think you just slam Niv. Yep.
Slam Niv and force him to answer it.
Yeah, and I don't think Jason.
And was that a dive down in Dan's hand too? Oh God, if that's a dive down, that is a beating. Yep, it sure is. Poor Jay.
And Jason has no idea, and that's the worst part. We have all the idea. What does Jason even do here?
He scoops him up. I mean, he's gonna play it out because his hand is full of spells, and he doesn't know that he's just dead. Right.
Yeah.
But
it looks like he's gonna play the Crackling Drake here. Yep.
That's a good call.
Yeah, I think you just use the Dragon Skull Summit for red, though.
No, you got to represent. Maybe you have the, I don't know, the price of fame.
They were talking about it before the game, and he was just like, yeah, I just play it for the dispersal.
Oh,
so,
he did say it?
Yeah. Because as he played it, he was like, yeah, you know, you like that hot one of.
Yeah, that's why you don't give that information away.
Yeah.
Maybe they're thinking, oh, God, what is this guy playing?
Yeah.
Why did he leave the black mana open? It's not much in this situation, but it's always a consideration.
Yeah. All right.
People discredit how important information is.
Right. So it looks like he pinged him twice. The draw for turn plus the draw off.
There's a Rekindling Phoenix.
Ooh.
Yeah, we can just sit here and do this all day, Dan says.
Yep, Dan's just like, I don't care what you're doing.
All that matters is what I'm doing.
Yup. Man, this is just really rough for Jay. I mean,
and he's going to be able to spell swindle whatever he plays here.
Yeah.
Which is just going to be a beating.
4 mana, and do we see the spell swindle here?
Or you kind of have to, because you can spell swindle and hold up that dive down still. That's just game, right? That would be enough for me to pack it up. If I saw somebody spell swindle my Drake here, I'm probably scooping.
Yep, we got a trigger off Niv, so we got a spell Pierce, but we got the trigger still. So 2 triggers on the stack off Niv.
So we're gonna draw 2.
We're gonna draw.
Deal some damage.
So he's gonna ping. Yeah, so this is where the stack gets kind of weird, and then it'd be even
Niv Mizzet
weirder.
stacks are crazy.
Yeah, it's even weirder when Niv Mizzet versus Niv Mizzet.
I've had that before on camera, and we were both really bad.
Yeah, I remember.
I know.
All right. Oh, and we got the Murmuring Mystic.
That is a nice token.
Did Dan draw his second card off the spell?
I'm not sure.
I believe so. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
So, what does Jason even do? Swing with a 6/4, I guess.
He's got 2 6/4s. This rekindle, the swinging is bad. Unless you have a dive down.
Yeah, he could dive down it.
But still, that's like you're trading a dive down for a Rekindling Phoenix activation and giving him a card. No.
Yeah.
It's not an activation. It's the ability, by the way. My bad. Don't kill me, YouTube comments.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm waiting for it.
So, he spell-pierced it.
As long as you guys aren't as bad as Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah, that was really bad the other day. All right, so we're going to go
So does Dan remember his trigger?
Yes,
he
does.
Okay.
All right, so we got this. And then...
And we do have a couple of 1/1s over there. Jason's not
trigger.
dead.
Where's the... So it's going to the face of Jason Pease.
He's just dead. Look at that hand.
Jesus. I don't think a control hand gets better than that.
I think honestly. You're just supposed to fire off the expansion explosion, aren't you? So let's see. How much can you do it for? You can do it for 5, so you're going to hit him for 10?
11.
11?
Because...
And you do it on their upkeep, then? No, honestly, you just do it now while he's tapped out.
Yeah.
There, I think he's going to do it, too. He heard me.
He heard you? No,
from the past,
he has 12 total here.
He has 12 man. Oh, on the end step. That's right. And there it is. Jason's going to pick up his cards there. He has seen enough. Honestly, he's got more constitution than I do. As soon as that Rekindling Phoenix comes down, I'm probably just done.
Yeah.
Just for time's sake more than anything. These matches do tend to get really grindy sometimes, so I always do like to... I do scoop early sometimes, I think, just as a consideration for the clock in these blue mirrors. Even if one of us is really trying to kill the other one, like the Drake's deck is, it still does get very grindy.
Yeah, especially when you're kind of boarding into almost the same deck, just no white, so you don't have Teferis, you don't have all the Ixalan's bindings, and settles, but you have nivs and spells. So if you both resolve a niv, well, you're resolving the niv. It's happening. It can't be countered. But
Jay does have play here too. He can just like slam a niv on 6 or 7 with a dive down backup, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's nothing like summary dismissal in standard right now that can get around that can't be countered.
Which honestly I think is a mistake. There's too many. There's Niv Mizzet is a problem, and there's one other card in this format.
Carnage Tyrant?
Yes, Carnage Tyrant. I couldn't remember the name of it.
We do have Detection Tower, though, for Carnage Tyrant, which makes it somewhat better. So I don't feel like it's as big of a problem.
I have a feeling Azorius is going to give us something like that. Something that just says exile all spells or something.
I think Azorius is going to be more artifact-based.
It's going to be more artifact-based, but that at the end of the day, it is still Azorius, the guild.
Right.
And the guild itself, the flavor is no.
Yeah.
We tell you no.
I was kind of really hoping that we would get like with this past set guilds that we would get like a counterflux or something
I
of
was
that
hoping.
sort.
That's what I was saying. I think we need something.
Counter, you know.
We need something that I don't want to see it can't be countered. I want to see something that exiles spells.
Yeah, but this one exiles the stack with overload.
No, it counters the stack.
Counters the stack, not exiles, but still it can't be countered. Counter the stack.
So back to the game here. Just doing a lot of setup. We're going to see a turn 2 search for his Kanta here from Jason, which honestly is one of his best tools in this matchup. Search for his Kanta, still my most played card in all of Standard. I have not played a deck since it came out that has not submitted Search for his Kanta in it. And B, I think it is still the most powerful card in all of Standard. There is no card that by itself can win. It will just win you any game if it's left unchecked. You know what I mean? It's going to draw you cards once it flips. It's a land, so it's very hard to interact with. 2 mana, scries you 1 or surveils 1 every turn, which is just better. You know, I can't say enough about this card.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell everybody, though, who's actually watching. They know how good Search for his Kanta is. I'm just a blue fanboy. So we're going to see this Drake get in here for 2. Nothing really special going on. Guys, still just trying to get their stuff set up. We're going to see a Disdainful Stroke here in hand from Jason. Chart of course here, main phase 2, going to draw a couple of cards. Is that 2? There's a Crackling Drake in a land.
Yep.
Ooh, playing that land tapped.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to just like preserve his life total.
You know what? Against the Jeskai control deck, you take the 2 there and hold up that Disdainful Stroke.
Yeah.
If that's what that card was, I think, which I do believe it is, you need to take that 2 damage. Because he's about to untap with 4 mana. You know, and that's not... Usually they just say go, but you never know. You have to represent it. If you have it, I should say, you have to just shock it into play there. You know, you're telegraphing it, but that makes them think it might be a negate, too. So that forces them to play a different way. I really think that's a misstep there from Jason, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm also very aggressive with my life totals when I'm playing these blue mirrors. I don't care. My life total doesn't matter until I'm losing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm the same way. Dan's being very conservative with his life total,
which is fine because he can represent his Ionize with 3 mana here. He can play his land tap. Jade was not able to represent that Disdainful Stroke. You cannot jam that there. Honestly, I know he's trying to be mana efficient, but you have to, if you're gonna jam a threat, you jam one of the Drakes and force the Ionize to eat that. Rail's just too good in this matchup to jam like that into 3 open mana.
Yeah, so did you see what Dan just did there?
No.
So he played the Ionize and went to go Surveil, thinking it was a Sinister Concoction.
Sinister Sabotage.
So the way they're fixing it is they're putting that card on the bottom. He revealed it to Jason. And then they're going to have Dan shuffle the deck.
I actually went and played Standard Showdown at the Gaming Go last night, and I did the exact same thing, not with an Ionize. Not a complete... I don't even remember what the spell was. It was something that has nothing to do... It wasn't even an instant. It wasn't a counter spell. It was nothing. I just cast it, and then I surveilled one for no reason. And my opponent's like, what the hell are you doing?
And this is why we don't play Ral Zurich on 5.
Yeah, into 3 open mana, and then you're going to let him untap with 5. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not great for...
I will say, I do love Jay. He's one of my, boys when we're up at the store. He's a good friend. He does tend to get flustered in these situations. Yep. He tends to make some play mistakes sometimes.
Which I mean, all people do.
I mean, yeah, it's just he does it sometimes like more blatantly. You know what I mean? No, and we all do it. I've did it on camera.
Yep. I think so. I won my first feature match like ever the other day, and it's just like, but like I'm always just really bad on the feature. Just like I keep dumb hands all the time. Just because I'm like, oh man, I really want to win. This hand's really greedy, but like if I draw a land, it's great.
It's just gonna get there,
right?
Yeah.
You want to look good, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
Yep, and sometimes you start, oh man, I shouldn't have kept this hand, and that makes you get flustered, and you start making play mistakes, and it's like a cascade from there.
So he's probably gonna fire off this binding here.
Yeah, for sure. It's just gonna get disdainful stroke though.
Yep.
I still think Dan is okay with that trade. This Drake isn't really putting up much of a clock. It's going to be 5 power now. But...
Oh, this is not the right game.
It is 5 power now, but Dan's at a very healthy life total.
Yes.
So it's really not going to matter all that much with this Teferi ticking up every turn. So...
There we go. Back on the game.
Sorry, folks. Dan, we had a little technical error. So... Dan just going to let that one go, which is totally fine. He does have this seal away as an answer. But he's going to cast this treasure map. Yeah, that's right.
Because he gets to untap with Teferi to play the seal away still.
Took me a second to figure it out. I was like, is he really just tapping on? Oh, no. Teferi, my favorite card ever.
Teferi's just too good.
Teferi is too good.
I mean, it's played in Modern. You know it's good.
Teferi's not too good. Don't listen to us, Wizards. Azorius' winter is coming, folks. I'm just saying it. You heard it here first.
We're going to see another Dovin Bond, too, apparently.
Nut. Hit the nut button. We're going to have a Teferi and a Dovin Bond next to each other.
Oh, and there's a flipped search. So that's good for Jason. And there's a Niv Mizzet. That's also really good.
This is what I was saying. When he has 7 mana, playing a Niv Mizzet and being able to hold up a protection spell if he has it is one of the ways that Jason can actually win this game.
Yeah.
So Dan here really thinking if he wants to spend the seal away on this Drake, which he is supposed to. You're 100% supposed to seal away the Drake, protect your Teferi, and then you can untap and get rid of this Niv with the Teferi.
I don't know if he's that worried because it's only for 5 right now. Teferi still goes to 1.
I don't like that.
And Dan wants to do it at the end step to protect his Teferi either way.
No, I think if you're doing it, you do it in combat. You leave the loyalty on there 100%. Jade pre-combated that Niv Mizzet.
Yeah.
So you have to protect that 5 loyalty on there because now you can untap, tuck the Niv, and be so far ahead it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I think just where Dan's at with his hand, I don't think he was that worried about it.
Well, he should be because he's sitting on nothing but he got lucky there and just top decked a Niv, but he's sitting on nothing but counterspells and an opt. Which none of that does anything. It's all actively banned into the face of this Niv. So he's not going to get punished too badly here, I would guess.
And there's a Niv.
Because he did, top deck his own Niv. But that was a sequencing error, I believe, by Dan.
Yeah. I mean, I could see either way. I could definitely see either way.
If you're doing it, if you're 100% firing off that seal away, there's no reason to not do that.
Yeah.
Because now this Niv is going to eat your Teferi.
Yeah, and here's where this is going to get really easy. We see 2 Nivs just staring at each other, and they're both going to be casting spells. So he's going to activate Search here.
Oh, he found a Beacon Bolt.
I definitely think he's going to take the Beacon Bolt.
You have to.
Yeah. Although I think there is a dive down in there.
No, you don't take the dive down. You take the Beacon Bolt.
Yeah, I don't think you have to take the dive down. I definitely think you do take the Beacon Bolt. And he's going to cast it. So we got 2 Niv triggers on the stack now.
Niv fight.
All right. So Dan's sitting here going, all right, so here's how the triggers are going to go.
Dan's like, all right, here we go.
And then Paul grabbed the frame and bumped it. So, we got that little...
got the little jitters going there.
Yeah. So he's going to get dice out in a second because I was actually standing and watching this game. He's gonna get dice out to represent the triggers,
the pings,
and I'm 100% okay with that. This makes this so much easier.
Yeah, it makes it easier
everything.
for us.
it makes it easier when you're trying to figure out, like, wait, what's on the stack? Where is everything? So Dan in response is going to opt. Trigger. So we got two Niv triggers on the stack.
So I actually wasn't here. I was at F&M on Friday, but I had to leave. I had a tragedy in my family. And I actually heard about this stack fight that Jay is probably winning this game if he does his Niv triggers properly.
It's not this one. It's one in a turn or two.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So we got triggers. It looks like we're pinging to Fairy. We drew.
God, who knows what's going on?
Looks like we. Yeah. Okay. Jason got pinged for 1. Yeah, this is the hardest part, trying to figure this out. So Teferi, so this is off the opt triggers for both of them. So now the opt is going to resolve. All right, so we have 1 trigger left, it looks like. So he's going to draw. Trigger. Where did he... I don't know where he put that. Did he just put that on the Niv?
Yeah, he did.
That's weird.
Well, he's got this opt in hand that's going to allow him to hit it for 2 more.
Oh, no, he has a spell pierce.
He also has a spell pierce.
I don't think he has enough to ping.
If he opts, he's going to draw 2 cards, which will kill the Niv.
But then his Niv dies too.
I didn't see that he had the spell pierce.
He just drew it off the opt.
Yeah. So, yeah, drawing that spell pierce is gross.
Yeah, so spell pierce, and then he realizes, hey, I'm going to put this on the stack, and this time I'm going to have to ping you.
Yeah.
And he's just, like, probably thinking, like, hey, I just kind of...
Well, he was on the correct path until he drew the spell pierce.
Right.
He would have been able to kill his Niv also, in his mind, until he drew that spell pierce. He was just trading the Nivs.
Nope.
Drawing that spell pierce makes him feel stupid, but he still gets to keep his Niv. So he was honestly playing correctly, thinking that his Niv is going to die.
I agree. He's just like, man, like, if
how
my Niv's
unlucky.
Gonna die, I have to get your Niv. And he's just like, well, I kind of just wasted these 3, but do I really care?
It's kind of funny that after all that, both Nivs are still standing.
Yeah, and so Jason actually has another land in hand, and if he had played it for turn, that spell pierce did nothing, and then their Nivs just traded.
That's what I was talking about. Jason, like, makes these small players when he gets flustered.
Yeah. I mean, that's a common play, though, like, hey, like...
Not for me. First thing I always do, play my fucking land.
Yep. All right, so we got a scry, we got a draw. Jason's going to go to 11 here. And then what? So we have looks like
settle,
2 settles, spell swindle, opt.
Dan getting ready to rumble here?
I don't think he wants to attack.
I was going to say, he feels like he's not wanting to be aggressive here, because Jay can just untap and, like, drop 2 Drakes on him, for example.
Yeah. And then it's just... Then Dan just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Well, then he holds up settle.
That's true. But we're getting to the point of the game where 1 Drake's just going to, like, kill in 2 turns.
Yeah. No, definitely.
That's the other thing about this Izzet deck, is if you let them untap with a Drake 1 time past turn 5 or turn 6, you can just die. Here we go.
Alright, so triggers.
Lots of pings, back and forth and back and forth.
So trigger, it looks like Jason goes to 10 on that. Or did he put it on the Niv? Do you know?
I believe he put it on the Niv. Honestly, I wasn't looking.
Yeah. So this is the really big war.
This is the turn Jay was telling me about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I saw Jay last night at the goat, and he was agonizing this stack right here. He was telling me, man, if I just had pointed that goddamn opt at the Niv Mizzet, or just cast the opt, I probably would have won that game. I had the flip search and everything. He went on for like 20 minutes about it.
All right, so he's probably going to cast a spell swindle here on the Discovered Dispersal, which seems okay.
Yeah, I'll make 7 treasures.
So triggers, we got another trigger.
Trigger.
So we have, looks like 2 triggers on the stack now.
In response, we're going to search for his Kanta.
We see a Charter Course.
That's a disdainful stroke there.
Yeah. Going to take that disdainful stroke. And probably just going to go cast that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're gonna see that disdainful stroke cast trigger. Here we go again.
More triggers.
You can see they're trying so hard to visually represent this for us.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to do the thing that Adrian Sullivan was doing when he was playing this deck. All right, so triggers resolve.
Each player draws a card. 3 damage stacked and 2 damage stacked. And you can see there's that fateful opt.
All right, so there's the disdainful stroke. We want trigger. Draw. Okay, now Jason draw.
This is silly.
Yep, and there's that opt that Jason was. So he opts, trigger. So this is the part where it's kind of weird. So opt trigger, Jason should draw here. Okay, so Jason draws. We got 4 damage on both nibs. Opt trigger. Here's where Jason needed to put the opt on the stack.
Oh, God, it's just daggers. He got too far lost into it, you know?
Yep. I mean, and it was a really complicated stack, so I don't blame him. And yeah, because Dan's explaining, like, oh yeah, well, because it's on the stack, he's like, well, it's on the bottom of the stack. You know, the top of the stack resolves first, and then you work your way down.
And then he just let it go. Oh, God, it hurts. Because you can even cast your own opt and spell pierce it if you really gotta.
Yep.
So there's just millions. Oh, no, Jay, why? Don't do it. Don't you untap your mana. I know it already happens, but don't do it.
Oh, no, he was counting his lands to make sure.
Oh, it was his turn, wasn't it?
Yeah, to see if he played land or
not. Oh, he plays an Enigma Drake, and Dan there could not be happier. He probably saw that he plays that Enigma Drake and just...
Yep, and we're going to see a flip treasure map.
Just couldn't handle it.
And then I found this really funny. Jay was counting his graveyard, and Dan goes, it doesn't matter.
Oof. Dan's a savage.
Yeah, Dan just goes, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna kill it with fire.
Oof.
Yeah.
Dan's such a savage.
Because there's that lava coil right there, and Jason is tapped out. So this does not look good for Jason at all.
No, and I don't know if he's favored if he kills that Niv, but at least they're just sitting there at parity now.
Yeah.
Dan has a flipped treasure map, but Jason has a flipped search, which is infinitely better. So who knows, right? I mean, Dan is sitting there looking at another Niv Mizzet, but he has to spend his whole turn to play that.
I just don't think Jason has an answer for a Niv.
Not anymore. And Dan's sitting there with about 1 million cards in his hand.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'm not even going to play anything else. Just going to pass.
There's no reason to play anything else.
No, not at all.
You just play Protect the Queen now. Or I guess he's the king, isn't he?
I guess so.
Yeah. Just hold up a negated disdainful stroke.
Yeah. I mean, this is...
Niv showing why he is the king of the format.
And you're going to play a land here. And he's probably just going to, like...
I mean, he could make a whole bunch of blockers, but Dan can just cast spells, right? I mean, he could go end step, settle the wreckage, deal you 1 damage.
Yeah, I mean, he could.
And then untap, draw a card, deal you 1.
And he has a Teferi.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can also use these treasures to draw cards and deal damage, so it's really just...
4 mana.
This is a formality.
Disdainful stroke. Probably pinging him.
He has to ping him. There's no other
target. I mean, you could target your own Niv, right?
You could target yourself.
You could also target yourself.
Like Cheese does in Arena. He'll sit there targeting himself until he accidentally concedes. Oh, I'm so far ahead, it doesn't matter. Right, wait, what happened? I conceded?
And Jason's just like, man, I'm just slowly killing myself here.
Yep. But he's on camera. He doesn't want to scoop it up. Jason's a warrior. There it goes. And now he knows it's dead.
And Jason's just like, I can't do it. So we see Jeskai Control take it down in 3.
Kind of how I figured.
Yeah. Like I said before the game started.
Are you recording anymore?
Yeah. Game 1 goes to Izzet Drakes just because you have these main deck Clarions that are just not good. And you have a few other cards that just don't do much in this matchup. But then sideboarding, you just get to get rid of all those cards.
Right.
And bring in cards that matter.
Yep, like negates and the more lava coils. I'm sure I saw him bring in a Lyra, seal aways, stuff like that. We'll see you guys back for round 2 though.